Hello. Having studied the concept of thermodynamic potentials in physics, we are in a position to learn another important concept known as the Maxwell's thermodynamic relations. These are a set of relations introduced by the 19th century British physicist James Clerk Maxwell. Maxwell is regarded as one of the greatest scientists of the 19th century who has given great contributions in various fields of physics such as electromagnetism, field theory, thermodynamics, kinetic theory of gases, etc. And we are learning a large number of equations in various branches of physics. But there are certain equations which have standed the test of time and which are considered to be something great. For example, every student of physics would have come across the equation E equal to mc square, and even that equation has become the symbol of physics due to the significance that it has gained. Similarly, whenever we talk about Newton and Newton's law, even though Newton has discussed three laws, the equation F equal to ma assumes a lot of relevance. Similarly, Maxwell is remembered for a number of sets of equations. E equal to mc square or F equal to ma are individual equations, whereas Maxwell's mathematical genius has produced a number of sets of equations in various fields of physics. And one such set of equation which is used in the thermodynamic analysis of a system is known as Maxwell's relations. There is yet another set of four equations which becomes the Bible of, I should say, which becomes the foundation of electrodynamics, which are known as Maxwell's equations in electrodynamics. You have already begun to learn the electric and magnetic field properties in your electrostatics classes. You will come across shortly the four equations which has revolutionized the entire concept of electromagnetism, and even which has led to the concept of existence of, or the chance of existence of, a new kind of wave, what is known as electromagnetic waves. They will be written in terms of del dot and del cross of E and B. And it's quite interesting that a very vast area of physics has been covered in some four equations, and the same significance is there for Maxwell's relations in thermodynamics. So on the screen you can see a set of four equations which are nothing but partial derivative equations, and these equations are what is known as the Maxwell's relations. And there are several forms of Maxwell relations. In our particular course, we will be considering only one set of Maxwell's relations. The other sets of other equivalent representations of Maxwell relations you will be coming across in your higher courses. Now, let's try to understand what is the significance of Maxwell's relations, how they are obtained, and what is the use, as well as how to memorize this set of equations. Because the mastery over Maxwell's relations, whether it is in thermodynamics or it is in electrodynamics, is one of the basic needs that is to be met by a student of physics. So see that you should be, by the end of the lecture, you should be able to recall or write all the 4 Maxwell's relations in thermodynamics correctly, and that will be the take home from this session. So before we begin with the derivation of Maxwell's relation, let me have a definition. So what are Maxwell's relations? As you see on the slide, Maxwell's relations are a set of equations in thermodynamics which are derivable from the symmetry of second derivatives. Derivable from the symmetry of second derivatives and from the definitions of thermodynamic potentials, otherwise known as characteristic functions. So there are 2 things that you have to note. We will be explaining or justifying this particular definition shortly. So these are a set of equations. So as I told you that unlike E equal to mc square or F equal to ma, which are single equations, the Maxwell's relations both in thermodynamics and in electrodynamics are not a single equation. Instead, it's a set of equations. 4 equations are there in a set of 4 equations. That is what is written here. So you can see it's a 1, the second one is this one, third one is this one, and fourth one is this one. So all these equations are collectively known as the Maxwell's relations in thermodynamics. So the property is that these relations are derivable from the basic mathematical property of analytical functions. You might have heard of analytical functions. So they are derivable from the symmetry of the second derivatives. Symmetry of the second derivatives of analytic functions, and from the definition of thermodynamic potentials or characteristic functions, namely U, H, A and G, about which we have discussed in detail in the previous sessions. Now, before the derivation, let me just discuss some basic mathematics which will be helping you to understand what actually we are doing in order to derive these relationships. So let's consider a function, say. So consider a function. So let's write Z. So let Z be a function. It's an analytic function. So Z be a function of 2 independent variables, say X and Y. Z is a function of 2 independent variables, X and Y. Therefore, I can consider the total change in Z, which we usually write as dZ or differential of Z, due to the simultaneous changes that happen in X and Y. How do you calculate the total change in S or dZ? You know the equation, you know the relationship. How do you write it? You will be writing it as, in terms of partial derivative, dou Z with respect to dou X, that is the partial derivative. So I have to maintain the second variable, the other variable Y as a constant, times dx plus dou Z with respect to dou Y, keeping X as constant, times dx. This equation gives you the change in the function Z due to simultaneous and infinitesimal changes occurring in the variables X and Y. Now let me write this equation in a better form. So let me write this one in brief as m dx plus n dy. M dx plus n dy. We call this equation as 1. So we are now writing dz equal to m dx plus n dy. And that's actually something that we can write if you are able to write it like this, say for state functions, or we can say that exact functions. Now see what will we do? What is this m and n here? So where, let me define that one also, even though it is evident here. M is equal to dou Z by dou z by dou x at constant y, and n is equal to dou z by dou y at constant x, right? So let me say this is equation number 2. So these relations are equation number 2. Now let me do one thing. So this is m. Now let me take the partial derivative of m with respect to y. Okay, by definition m equal to the partial derivative of z with respect to x, keeping y constant. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to consider dou m by dou y. Already it is with respect to x. Now I am taking it with respect to what? Y. Keeping, it's understood, keeping the other variable, that is x, as a constant. So what you'll be getting? You'll be getting that will be equal to dou by dou y of m. I am substituting for m from equation number 2. Dou z by dou x. Dou by dou y of dou z by dou x, right? So automatically there is x and y that is there. I'm not writing it. Okay, so that is equal to, how can I write it? Can you write it as some second derivative? So that is dou square z by dou y dou x. Dou square z by dou y dou x. So that is my third equation. Now similarly, see what will be dou n by dou x. Similarly also you can write dou n by dou x, keeping y as a constant. That will be equal to dou by dou x of n. I can substitute for this one. So that is equal to dou z by dou y at, okay, constant thing. So you have to write, if you want you can write multiple brackets and put the condition, but that's not needed. So it's x, y and y, x, that's all, only the order. So you'll be getting, what you'll be getting is dou square z by dou y, sorry, dou x dou y. So that is my equation number 4. Now you look at equation number 3 and 4. We can see that they are second derivatives, but we will call it as mixed second derivatives. Okay, but the mixed second derivative of an analytic function like z is independent of the order of differentiation. That is a basic property of analytic function like z. So since mixed second derivatives of analytic functions are independent of the order of differentiation. Okay, so I can say, what is the conclusion? 3 is equal to 4. 3 should be equal to 4. Or what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that dou square, oh, okay, yeah, I can just get rid of that. So right sides are the equal, so can you just equate to the left side? So that thing is dou m with respect to dou y, keeping x as a constant, that will be equal to dou n by dou x, keeping y as a constant. And this particular mathematical fact has been used to define the 4 Maxwell's relations that we are going to see. And this type of an equation we can write for differentials that are exact. So what is the nature of the exact differential? Equation number 1 defines the nature of an exact differential. Okay, so that is if dz can be written as what? M dx plus n dy. If dz can be written as m dx plus n dy, then this partial derivative will be equal. So now I think you will be able to revisit the definition of Maxwell's relations and try to understand it. So let's see what does it say. Maxwell's relations are set of equations in thermodynamics which are derivable from the symmetry of second derivatives. Where comes the symmetry of second derivatives? Here comes the symmetry of, in equation 3 and 4 comes the symmetry of second derivatives. Equation 3 and 4 we have equated, that is mixed second derivatives are equal. So that is the meaning of symmetry. Symmetry means they are same, they are equal. Symmetry of mixed derivatives, and from the definition of thermodynamic potentials. Okay, we have seen these are the four main thermodynamic potentials, and we have seen that these thermodynamic potentials are state functions, and you know state functions can be expressed, or the differential change of state functions, namely du, dh, dA and dg. All these differential changes or total differentials will be exact differentials. We have seen the basic mathematical theory behind state functions and exact differentials. So that was a conclusion there. So for exact differentials of the form dz, m dx plus n dy, you can always come to a conclusion dou m by dou y with respect to x is equal to dou n by dou x with respect to y. And if we apply these properties to each of the four thermodynamic potential, you will be getting four associated partial derivative equations, and those partial derivative equations have been named collectively as Maxwell's relations, which are listed here. Okay, so this is the basic technique, mathematical technique or mathematical background behind the definition of Maxwell's relations. So now we will obtain each of these Maxwell relation following the principle that we have discussed just now. Let's do it. So let me start from the four total differentials from the definition of Maxwell's relations. So I can see for any pure substance, the hydrostatic properties can be conveniently represented in terms of any of the four thermodynamic potentials or characteristic functions, namely U, H, A and G. These are nothing but the thermodynamic potentials or characteristic functions. They can be used to explain or represent the hydrostatic properties of any pure substance. Now, from our earlier discussion, you know what are the natural variables of each of these potentials. So you know U is a function of V and S. U is a function of V and S, we know. So you can write its differential. How do you write it? Du equal to, we have seen the memory technique, du equal to, so what you have to do is see V is a variable, so there will be dV, right? And S is a variable, so there will be ds, right? Now along with dV, always the coefficient will be P, so it's P dV, and along with S always the coefficient will be what? T. So which I have made clear, you know, P and V forms always a conjugate pair in thermodynamics. Similarly, T and S will be always forming a meaningful combination, which are known as conjugate pair in thermodynamics. And you can always now look back and understand how did we get maximum information regarding the system. We preferred two of the diagrams. Two diagrams we preferred. One was a PV diagram and the other one was a TS diagram, temperature entropy diagram. So why they were combined, why these two people were always selected as a pair? The reason is that their pair will form, their combination will always form a complete pair. That is what is known as conjugate pair. There are a number of conjugate pairs in physics which when combined together will give you some meaning. So for example, I can just see occasionally you can refer back to your Heisenberg's uncertainty relationship. Do you remember what is that? Delta x into delta p, is not? Delta x into delta p is greater than or equal to h cross or h cross by 2. So we will call this is x is the position, p is the momentum. So position and momentum is an example of what is known as a conjugate pair in mechanics. Similarly, you can modern physics also you can talk about. So similarly, you can take energy and time. Energy and time are conjugate pairs. Similarly, angular momentum and angular momentum and angle. For example, I can take J and theta. These are all examples of conjugate pairs. So these conjugate pairs can give you a lot of information once they are combined in the proper way. So the thing is that we were writing the equation du equal to now you have to decide the signs of this one. And hope you remember, whenever there is a p dv term in the differential, that will be minus, and t ds is always positive. So it is minus p dv plus t ds. This was one way of writing this equation. Okay, so let me call this one as equation number 1. Similarly, from the second potential h, what function it was? It was a function of ps, hp I told you. Another one is uv. Okay, so some mnemonics we have just discussed. So h is a function of p and s. So what will be dh equal to? So try to follow or practice the same technique. Okay, dh will be equal to, what do you write? You first write the two variables. You can do it only in the beginning, you need it. By the repeated usage, you will be able to write this one instantly without any problem. So dp, and what will be the other term? Second term will be having ds, dp and ds, right? Now you put its just add its conjugate variables. With the p always it will be what? V, so it is v dp. With the s it will be always what? T, so it is what? tds. And you know that whenever it is v dp or whenever it is v, that is enough. Whenever it is v, it will be plus, and whenever it is t or tds, that also be plus. So this is the equation, both the terms will be plus. Third one, a is avt, I told you. Okay, avt. Okay, the T brand, whatever it is. So dA will be equal to, so I am following the same memory technique. Okay, so dV I will write dt, and with the V always it is P which is conjugate, with the T always it is S which is conjugate. Remember TS diagram and PV diagram, or they should have the dimensions of energy. That is the basic reason. Okay, A is an energy, and so PV should be having dimension of energy, SDT should be having the dimension of energy. Now decide the sign. Whenever it is P, I told you to be a negative term, and whenever it is S also it will be a negative term. So it will be minus PdV minus SDT. Okay, and the last one, which is that G. So G is a function of PT, GPT. Okay, hope you remember the G was a convenient thermodynamic potential to analyze chemical reaction, the spontaneity of chemical reactions and phase relationships. Okay, so dG is equal to, I write it the same way. So it's dP anyway, and the other one is dt. So with the dP there should be V, and with the dt there should be S, and it is S is always minus in the equation and V is always what? Plus in the equation. So you get equation number 3 and equation number 4, and these 4 equations are actually known as Gibbs relationships. Gibbs relationships. Now from Gibbs relationship you can reach Maxwell's relationships. That is what we are trying to do. Now let's put up the argument. So you are from equation 1 to 4, you can see that all these U, H, A and G all are state functions, right? So this is the argument. Since U, H, A and G are state functions, that is a mathematical property of state functions, right? They have been identified as state functions in their definition itself. Their total differentials are exact. Their total differentials expressed by equation number 1 to 4 differentials are exact, right? And if the total differentials of some function are exact, then what you can do? Therefore, that is, they are of the form dz is equal to, they are of the form, all these equations are of the form dz is equal to m dx plus n dy, m dx plus n dy. So let me write, that is equation number 5. Now if so, If so, therefore, what we can write? What was the conclusion that we have done? We can write dou m. See that what we are doing? This will be the leading thing for you. Dou m. So this is the thing. You take the derivative of m with respect to the other variable, not the coefficient variable, but the other variable. Dou m with respect to dou y. Okay. Then you have to keep the remaining variable as constant, that is x. That will be equal to dou n. Okay, this one, dou n with respect to dou x, keeping y as a constant. So this is the relationship that you have to always remember. So see that how we are doing. You are taking m with respect to y. This is the way in which you have to remember, please. M with respect to y. Okay, dou m by dou y. Order you understand. And then n with respect to x. Okay, m with respect to y, the outer pairs and the inner pair, they are combined. So remember the order. See, those who are not good at memorizing things, try to memorize the order. Okay, so this is a relation that we are going to apply in all the equations. Now, can you write down? So I'm going to use now 1 to 6, equation number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, to write the four what do you say, Maxwell's relationships. So let me use equation number 1. Okay, so let me use equation number 1. See, so these were the basic things to begin with, right? Now from equation 1, what we can do? So what is equation number 1? du equal to, right, du equal to minus pdv plus tds. So how do you write it? This is what you have to do, right? First one and the other variable. So m dy. So dou m by dou y I have to write. So what I have to do? Right side, it is what? Dou minus, I can put a minus, that minus sign is there, minus first one and the last one, right? This is what I just told you. So minus dou p over dou s. Okay, keeping, see, it's quite easy because you are differentiating with respect to s. What are the variables here? S and v are the variable. D, v and ds. D denotes variable. Okay, differential change. So if it is s, the other variable should be maintained as a constant, like x and y. That should be equal to, what will be the second one? How do you get the second one? This is the order, right? T with the dv, right? So that will be equal to dou t by dou v, dou t by dou v. So it's just the opposite. S will be the constant. So this one let me call as equation number 7, right? Now next one. So equation number 2 gives, what will be equation number 2? Please try to do it along with me. I'm writing it. So both the terms are positive, so I need not worry about that. So I'll be writing first the outer product. So that is dou v. Try to follow me along with me. Okay, dou v with respect to, what is that? Dou s. Dou v with respect to dou s. Outer pair. Okay, outer pair means this and this I'm taking. If you write in order, that's a benefit. Dou v with respect to dou s. Okay, keeping, it's already s here. So what is that thing? You have to keep p as the constant. P as the constant. Okay, now this two, inner pair, you have to take inner. So that will be equal to dou t with respect to dou p. Then what will be the constant? It will be s will be the constant. S will be kept a constant. This will be kept a constant. Okay, we call this one as equation number 8. Now equation number 3. Equation number 3 will give you, what is equation number 3 giving you? See, same manner, it's both negative. So both the partial differential equations are going to be having negative, but and that both negative will be getting cancelled, or I can write it and cancel it. Minus first one, the outer one. So what is that? Dou p with respect to dou t at constant v is equal to, now the inner one, dou s with respect to dou v at constant t. There is a negative sign here also, but these two negative signs will get cancelled away. Okay, So that is positive equation once again, right? So it is equation number 9. And finally, from equation number 4, what you'll be getting? See, doing again S and T, sorry, V and T. So it's a dou V with respect to dou T at constant P, that will be equal to, there is a minus sign there, dou S with respect to dou P inner pair, okay, keeping T as a constant. Equation number 10. Fine, that's all. And these equations from 7 to 10, so 7, 8, 9 and 10 are our required equations, known as the 4 Maxwell's equations or thermodynamic equations. These are the equations that we need, and you can check it back. These are the equations that we have written. So just try to recall this one. Minus dou P by dou S, that is equal to dou T by dou V. You can check it back. Dou P by dou S minus dou P by dou S. The LHS and RHS have been changed here. That's no issue. So dou P by dou S is equal to dou T by dou V. That is there. And similarly, you can cross check each of the equations. Okay, and should be confident enough, right? Remember one thing, it's not only these equations 7 to 10, their reciprocal equations are also correct. So you may, if you follow some other literature, you will find that all these equations are given in terms of their reciprocal equation. Okay, so their reciprocal equations are also correct or valid. So remember that one. Now, so the thing is that the task of a physics student is that maybe okay, you will take some time, even though very little, to write this equation in its systematic manner by understanding. So what we have done is we have derived the equation starting from the very basics by analyzing the what you call the exact nature of all these thermodynamic potentials. But while you are doing a problem, or while you are applying these equations in solving a thermodynamic problem, you cannot always go back and go through all these steps. It will be time consuming. So it's always advised that a student of physics who is practicing thermodynamics should be able to memorize all the 4 Maxwell's equations within a short stretch of time. So in the next session, we'll see how to memorize or how to recall the 4 Maxwell's equations easily. There are a number of mnemonics, and like we have discussed how to memorize the thermodynamic potentials and their relationships, there are certain concepts that you can apply, like checking their dimensions and understanding what are the conjugate variables, etc. That will help you to overcome the problem of writing or representing Maxwell's relations in a wrong manner. So we will discuss that one in the next session. And you can just verify our definition of Maxwell's relation before we end up the session. So you look at the Maxwell's equation and how we arrived at the Maxwell's equation. You can see that we began from the definition of the 4 thermodynamic potential, and we used the symmetry of second derivative to reach conclusion like 6 for analytic functions, right? So that is why in the previous thing we defined Maxwell's relations are as a set of equations in thermodynamics which are derivable from the symmetry of second derivatives, that is from the exact nature of state functions, and from the definitions of thermodynamic potentials. Okay, so these 4 equations are listed here. Thank you.